Welcome back. Welcome back to another episode of the Bench Mob ENT podcast, the best sports podcast in New Jersey. Take care of some business real quick. Make sure you hit that like button, share, subscribe, rate us 5 stars, please. We're trying to be here for a good time and a long time. You feel me? So to help us out to achieve that goal, we're going to need you to hit that subscribe button, like, share. We appreciate y'all for all the support. I'm your host, your narrator, your curator of this podcast here. Thomas is still not worried, joined by my fellow co-hosts Miles and Greg. How y'all fellas doing tonight?
Doing good.
Yeah, man, I'm good. A lot to talk about today.
We're going to jump right into it. For those that are tuning in, watching, for you those that are listening, on tonight's episode or this morning's episode when you consume this, we're going to be talking about Derik Queen and his draft stock, a.k.a. Baby Jokic. We're going to have that conversation. Which direction should the Giants go at 3? We're going to be talking about the Stefon Diggs signing, life without Dame, and we are going to look ahead at the MLB. Baseball is back. Now, some of y'all might not have been up for the 6 o'clock in the morning games, but we are back to normal scheduled baseball starting tomorrow. And promise y'all, Mets, Yankees, very big years coming up for them. So we will be more than ever be tuned in more with baseball this season. So you will get a mix of baseball a lot more this season. Starting off, though, in New York, we just mentioned the Yankees and Mets staying in that area, staying in the tri-state area. The New York Giants have signed Russell Wilson for a 1-year, $10.5 million contract, up to $21 million with incentives. They also signed Jameis Winston, 2 years, $8 million contract. A leftover from last season, Tommy DeVito, is also in that quarterback room. With that being the case, does Shedeur Sanders fall out of the top 10?
I don't think so. I think he's going to go top 3. To be honest, I still think that's how it's going to go. I think teams are quarterback desperate, and they're thirsty for quarterbacks. And I think that is going to end up propping him higher than maybe he should go. All right, I'm here for that. If you want to talk to me about value and where he should go based on the talent that's on the board, okay, fine. But we know the NFL, we know this league, and history repeats itself in this situation where we'll have a guy like Shedeur go much higher than maybe he should, because that's what happens to quarterbacks that are even remotely close to being guys that you think could be good in the NFL. That's just the truth. I still hear the murmurs out there about this whole class not being that good. You keep hearing that, like it's not nearly as good as last year's class. I keep hearing those murmurs as well. And so I personally wouldn't be surprised if Cam Ward didn't go number 1. I wouldn't be surprised if on the week of the draft, the odds started to shift and it was Abdul Carter who was trending to go number 1. It really wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me at all if the Titans were window dressing and went in a different direction and chose to, draft Abdul Carter and then sign a veteran of some kind somewhere down the line, whatever it may be. So, I'm not saying it's going to happen. It's more than likely that Cam will go number 1, but it wouldn't surprise me with the way people talk about this class. And especially with the fact that the Titans are still keeping the door open on a potential trade up. They're not like saying, they never outright said, hey, we're selecting Cam Ward. Like last year, the Bears said, we're outright selecting Caleb Williams. That hasn't happened. So no, back to Shedeur. I personally think he'll go top 3. I think that the Giants, truthfully, I think the Giants are the team in there that's desperate for a quarterback to give themselves a longer leash for Joe Shane and Brian Daboll. I just really believe that's what's going to happen. And I don't think that's the only reason why they pick him. I do think that they like him for whatever that's worth. But more importantly for them, it just makes too much sense to pick him if you're trying to extend your life, right? As the GM and as the coach of that franchise, because you have someone to develop there. Like you got the guy of the future, and you don't have to ever play him this year. So you don't have to expose him to the criticism of being the starting quarterback. So we could talk about the merits of it all, but to start it, I don't think he's going to fall to the top 3.
I think he falls out of the top 5. Like you said, it's not a particularly strong draft at the first round level. Like it's very top heavy. You got your top picks like Abdul Carter, Travis Hunter, a couple tackles in there. Even the quarterbacks in most drafts wouldn't be looked at this high. But I mean, like you said, QBs are always going to get valued higher in a draft like this. So the Titans, I think, will take Cam Ward. I think the Giants, their offseason screams to me that they're not going to force a quarterback pick here just because there's a so-called mandate for them to start winning, which it is. So if I'm a Giants fan and this regime is in year 4, back against the wall, do I really want them to take a quarterback and then they could be out of here by next season? I would opt for the best player on the board, and then there's Jaxson Dart. People knock him. I think you can trade back into the first round and get him, and he can sit for a year or however long they keep these 2 other quarterbacks for them. But best player on the board, Travis Hunter, adds another weapon to your receiving core, adds a weapon in the secondary too. So you're really taking 2 players in one. So if you got Travis Hunter at 3, that's the best possible outcome to start your draft. Taking Shedeur at 3, I feel like there's been so much talk and smoke leading into it, even dating back towards like the award ceremonies in December. Shedeur and the cleats and the flirting they've been doing over the last few months. It's cool and all that, but I don't think it's a good fit. I don't think it's a good fit for New York.
I mean, look, I think the Shedeur conversation, if you're talking about merit, which is where we're going with it, is like, does he deserve to be the number 3 pick overall? Me personally, when I watch that guy play, I think it's CJ Stroud best case scenario. I really do. I really, really do. How technically sound he is, the way he gets rid of the football, the quick release, and all that. He doesn't have a crazy arm. Stroud doesn't either, but they can still make all the throws. I think people talk about Shedeur like he's Tua. Like I said on the last show, he's not. He's not. He has a much stronger arm than that. He does. That Hail Mary play, rolling to his left and throwing it across his body 50 yards to the air, that's not a throw that Tua makes. It's just not. Certainly not rolling to his opposite side. It's not a throw he can make. So, no, man, I think Shedeur is worthy of the pick if you like him there. If the Giants are convicted on Shedeur Sanders and they want to pick him, then pick him. And I have no problem with it. And you want to know why? Because the track record of the guys that Joe Schoen has liked throughout his time here. He liked Jaden Daniels. He liked Drake May. He liked Caleb Williams. Okay, easy. He liked CJ Stroud. He liked some of these guys who have all panned out and been good quarterbacks. He picked Josh Allen. He helped pick out Josh Allen. If you see something in this kid and you want to draft him, I can get behind that. I'm okay with it because the Giants need to solidify the QB room. I hear a lot of talk about, Russell Wilson joining the team and Jameis Winston being in the same quarterback room means the Giants are not going to take a quarterback. No, it's genius what they did. They went and got 2 starting level NFL quarterbacks, 2 good quarterbacks, quality guys for a position that has killed them over the years. It's been terrible for years. Even when we had Daniel Jones healthy, it was awful. In fact, he was a big part of the problem. You went and got those 2 guys for $14 million in guaranteed money total for a year. And Daniel Jones is making $14 million with the Colts. Daniel Jones sucks. He's not good at all. And so to replace him with these 2 guys is going to be night and day with this offense. We have never seen what Wan'Dale Robinson can do in these guys. I'm excited about the prospect of how the receivers are going to grow, how much better they're going to get because they couldn't grow with Daniel Jones because he couldn't throw them damn ball past 20 yards. It was a joke. He do it no anticipation. So back to the main point, I think even with those 2 guys being in the room and getting those 2 players in Jameis Winston and Russell Wilson, you can still add Shedeur, solidify the room. You have no long-term answer at quarterback at all in that room at all. If you don't go, don't go get Shedeur in this class, okay, fine, get a Milroe or somebody in the back end. That's all right. I'd rather it be Milroe than Dart. That's just me. Unpopular opinion, I like Milroe more than I like Jaxson Dart. Milroe has an elite trait with his running ability, and he's not as bad of a thrower as everyone makes him out to be, including myself. I'm as guilty of anybody else. But if he can be fixed. I do believe that he just needs time. If Jalen Hurts can do it, he can do it. That's the way I look at it. So that's my read on him. But I think Shedeur is worth a pick in that first round if you love the guy. And I do think there's something to that. I do think there's smoke there. I'm going to keep beating this drum until we get to the draft, guys. If the Giants take Travis Hunter, I'm happy. I'm good. I'm not going to be mad about generational players on my team. Travis Hunter is one of the best draft prospects I've ever seen. Great. But if they don't and they take Shedeur Sanders, you will not see me be upset about that. Shedeur Sanders has the makings of a really good quarterback in the NFL, potentially all pro guy with the right development, being in the right situation as well. And he gets to come into New York and play behind a good offensive line that was playing well before guys got hurt. And then with a bunch of really solid receivers and Slayton and Neighbors and Theo Johnson at tight end. And they got guys that Wan'Dale Robinson, who plays good football. They got weapons there. It's the best situation. And I think Dion is kind of lying to us by saying that, oh, yeah, well, I'm happy with wherever he goes. Dion is trying to maneuver a little bit. I don't think Cleveland's taking him. I think Cleveland's going to try to trade for Kirk Cousins. I wouldn't be surprised if they swing a deal for Kirk Cousins by draft night. We hear the rumor about them trying to trade for Dak Prescott. I think it's BS. I think they're going to try to trade for Kirk Cousins, and they're going to pick Abdul Carter at 2 and pair him with Myles Garrett on the defensive end and try to terrorize Joe Burrow and put him on his ass for years. That's what's going to happen. Or with the Browns, and they're going to get Kirk Cousins. They're going to get nasty man out of there, Deshaun, and they'll move forward with their franchise. That's where we're headed. But as far as the Giants, I think it makes too much sense if Shedeur sitting there at 3. If you like him a lot, and I do think that is real, I do think that's not just smoke. I really do believe the Giants really have an infatuation with Shedeur Sanders. That you take him. Because I think he's being undersold. We're talking about him like he's not an elite prospect at the position, and I'm not. And I don't know. I really don't know why. I'm not quite sure why we're doing that because he can play position at a high level, and the numbers are eerily similar between him and Cam Ward on 20-yard throws. I think you got the stats this morning. It's like the exact same. But I think on 20-yard throws, Shedeur threw for a few more yards than Cam did. So to act like he can't throw the ball down the field with accuracy is ridiculous, in my opinion. I'm not against taking him.
At 7, it's been rumored of a Jaxson Dart maybe going at 7. What do you want at 7 as a Jets fan?
That's all smoke. There's no
smoke.
There's no shot that he would rise that high to 7. And I don't think Glenn and Muji would do that year 1. But at 7, I would take a tackle. You kind of have an identity now with Justin Fields there, and we're missing the right tackle. So if they're going to go run heavy, run that RPO offense with Fields, then you're going to need that guy on the right side to help lead the way. So whether that's Will Campbell, Membu, I'll take either of those guys. I know I keep hearing Tyler Warren, but if I'm drafting in the top 10, I'd rather take a tackle than take a tight end. I know we need playmakers on this team badly, but if you're taking a guy in the top 10, you're expecting them to at some point be all pro level. Same with the combo with Shedeur at 3. Is he going to be all pro level? We don't know that. And Tyler Warren, he could just be another good tight end, but worth the 7 overall pick? No. But a tackle in 7, I'm down with that. So I'm down with whatever Aaron Glenn is playing. Just don't take a tight end or a receiver at 7, because there aren't any that are worth a top 7 overall pick.
Staying with that conversation, though, of the importance of weapons, Drake May, sophomore season. They have added Stefon Diggs on a 3-year, $69 million contract, $26 million guaranteed. This wide receiver room now with Diggs includes Kendrick Bourne, Demaris Douglas, Matt Collins, Jalen Polk, Javon Baker, and Keyshawn Boots. What do you expect out of the Drake May, Stefon Diggs duo?
I'll start by saying that it's really interesting that they can't get receivers to go play for them. that they can't get free agents, that they're no longer draw free agents. And obviously we heard, I don't know if people know, but by now you should, if you pay attention to sports at all, that DK Metcalf was in conversation to get traded there, but he nixed the whole thing and said, I don't want to go there. I don't want to go to New England. And so it didn't happen. But that was a place where he was likely going to go, and if he got traded to where, the first option was. So look, they overpaid Diggs. He's coming off an ACL, and they gave him, what was it? The total value was like $60-something million.
69
total value,
million.
$69 million for Diggs. A guy coming off an ACL injury, and he's on the wrong side of his career now. Probably over 30 easily at this point. And you gave him that much money. It's a really aggressive move, but it's a move of a team that's desperate to get playmakers there, and they can't seem to get that job done. And so it's really interesting. I do think he's going to help them, but you're not adding the Stefon Diggs of old. You're not adding Bill Stefon Diggs. You're not adding Viking Stefon Diggs. You're adding a guy who is on the back nine. He maybe has a couple really good seasons left back in him. But there's real concern there about just the sustainability of it, if that's the only thing you're going to add. And I do think they're going to add receivers in the draft. I do think they'll go get guys to help Drake May out. But you're not giving them much to work with, to be honest. And don't think you just drafted the number one wide receiver in Stefon Diggs at this point. I mean, this may age like spoiled milk, but I don't see it. I don't see it. All right. I think the end we're creeping up on the end in terms of his prime, and if we haven't already gotten there. And it's just the hard truth of the matter, right? He's aging, and in football, you don't get to be Brian in football unless you're playing quarterback, guys. Like, it's tough to get hit over and over and over again and take that pounding over your career and still play at that level. So I thought it was an overpay. I think he'll help him, but I thought it was an overpay. I do, and I understand why they did what they did. They had no choice.
I like the signing. I mean, they had money to spend, and you're bringing in a guy who's going to be there for max 2 years, because it's really, you have an out after that second year. So 2-year deal, it aligns with Drake and his next contract probably. And they still have the draft, like you said. So if the Giants pass on Travis Hunter, I could see him going to New England. And then there, you got your number one guy. I think at the next level, Travis Hunter's best spot is going to be catching touchdowns. And if you pair him with Drake May, you have a young tandem there. That's going to be pretty good, be pretty special. So look out for that as a possibility in the draft. But bringing in Diggs, I mean, he's a really good safety blanket for Drake May. Even last season with Houston, I thought he had a solid season going until he got hurt. With Nico missing time, Tank Dell missing time, like, he was pretty solid for CJ. He had some great games last year. So I think as long as the recovery's going well with the ACL, which that's the tricky part. You're giving all this money to a guy coming off an ACL injury, which happened a couple months into the season. It can help Drake May, because last year he was throwing to who? Keyshawn Boutte and a lot of other guys that we don't really know their names. So it can't get any worse. Yeah, that guy was a bust last year. He had a rough rookie year. But Drake May was still thrown into the fire and making plays with what he had. So they have to address it in the draft. They tried last year, wasn't good enough. New regime, try again. Travis Hunter, if you have to double up in the first and second round, do it, because you got to surround this guy with as much talent as possible. Because what we saw last year, Drake May has the talent to be really good in the NFL. But unless you have weapons like Joe Burrow, it's going to be hard to show that out there on film. So
definitely looking forward to see what happens with Drake May if he hits a sophomore slump. If they get blocking too, they got a couple of needs that the Patriots need to make sure Drake May has a good second season. With that being said, you just mentioned, Travis Hunter even doubling up in the draft. trying to get somebody coming from college to help that team out. Somebody that currently is still in college, balling out in the March Madness tournament, balling out pretty much his career since where he was at. Derik Queen, he's been getting comparisons to baby Jokic, Nikola Jokic. He's a 6'10", 250-pound forward, Big Ten freshman of the year. Derik Queen. He'll be drafted top what pick, and what do y'all actually see as a good comparison, a good draft analyst of his game if you had to actually analyze it? Because we talked about it. Baby Jokic might be a stretch.
You know,
He's a good prospect, like I was saying, but I get the comparisons, or they're trying to compare him because he's a bigger power forward center type with nice touch around the rim. But the Jokic comparison doesn't really make sense. When you see Jokic play, like, he's not making plays for his teammates in the same way that Jokic is. And some of his weaknesses, like shooting's a little bit of a weakness right now. Like, the game is all about that stretch 4 or 5. He's only like a 20% 3-point shooter in college, so he'll have to improve on that. So I could see even Boogie Cousins comparison seems a little high for him. Like, he's not the athlete Boogie was. Boogie, you could say, was heavy, but he had the quickness, he had the moves. I don't see that. Maybe I don't want to say like a Zach Randolph, but kind of like similar type of body type, and being able to work in the mid range, that could work for him. And I could see him as a top 5, top 10 pick in this draft. I don't really see too many prospects that are better than him in college right now. So
yeah, I think the baby Jokic thing is just fans being lazy. You know what I mean? It's easy to see a big guy with a little bit of skill and call him Jokic, and that'll be happening for a long time. It's more of a compliment to Jokic than anything at this point. That's what we're doing. But yeah, when I watch him play, I don't see Jokic at all. I don't think he's that kind of shooter at this point in his career. And really, the real thing is I don't see that kind of passing ability. I just don't. I don't see that kind of manipulation of the court, of the understanding the game, understanding how to manipulate defense with the way you move and the way you move your head and all this stuff. Like, he's not that kind of feel for the game guy. He doesn't have that level of feel for the game, but he is very skilled. He can finish with around the rim really well. He can shoot the ball. He has great touch around the rim. Obviously, again, I think shooting can improve. Just kind of watching him shoot, I think he has an untapped potential there. But if I had a comp for him, I would really compare more to like a Boogie Cousins early than I would to Jokic anyway. And Boogie was really, really good, obviously, but and better, to be honest, at this stage. I'll even say that better as a college freshman, was a better player. But I think that's the kind of the comp I'd go with. I just see that. And as far as his draft prospects go, I think he's a top 10 pick. I wouldn't take him over Jeremiah Fears. I'm not sure I'd take him over VJ Edgecombe. I'm not sure I'd take him over, and obviously the Cooper Flags and Dylan Harper and the Ace Bailey. Those guys are obvious. I would not take him over Ace Bailey. I know we haven't been very complimentary of Ace Bailey on this show. I would still take Ace Bailey over him because of the untapped potential. If you get Ace Bailey with the coach that can pull his head out of his behind, you might hit gold. You might get a really good player out of that. So for me personally, I think he's a back end of the top 10. Maybe to the 11 area. He's not in the greatest shape in the world. Like, he's a bit husky, to be honest, and that would worry me a little bit just from an injury perspective. We see Joel Embiid is dealing with, eating all them Philly cheesesteaks over there. You got to be real careful with that. So we got to make sure he's able to stay in shape over the course of his career, so he can continue to play. The course of 82 games is a lot, right? And yeah, you're asked to play defense, and now bigs are asked to play defense on an island in the perimeter. It's hard to do that when you're a heavier guy, right? So I really, really, there's some red flags there with that. And so if I was going to go top early top 10. I don't think I could do that, but I could do it in the lottery. I could pick him in the lottery in this class for sure. I think there's merit there to that, but I wouldn't be surprised to see him slip a little bit as well. And then, this is probably nothing, right? But the maturity thing. Okay, so he does a interview after the game, and they say, "Yo, wait, why'd you go to Maryland?" And he goes, "Oh, Coach Willard gave me the money or whatever." And nothing wrong with saying that, but you know what I mean? Like, that's the kind of thing that shows up on a job interview, bro. Like, it's just not smart. And so I have my concerns about the maturity. He's very young and about to come into a lot of money, and he's already not in shape. When you got money, you can go eat at the 5-star joints. You ain't got to go eat at Burger King no more. It gets lavish, and Zion's been fighting that demon for a long time, and it looks like God's finally breaking through with him. But in this case, I just got my concerns. I got my concerns about his long-term sustainability in the NBA. And I think if I have those concerns as a bystander, best believe that an NBA GM or scout would have the same concerns. Maybe. I don't know. That's just me.
Hey, so in the spirit of us being in March Madness, the tourney, some upsets and things of that nature, based off of who's in the NBA right now. Right now, not, at their peak. Right now, who's in the NBA? Their current status. If you could think of any player, and if you come up with more than one, please do share. Any player that's actually from this NBA could be on a 16th seed team and lead them to a championship.
Besides LeBron and Jokic?
If that's who you got. I don't know if anybody would pick LeBron at 40 to lead a 16 seed team.
16 team. See, we talking about like 16 seed team and what, like in the new playoff format or in
College.
College. So this version of them.
This version of them.
There's a lot of guys. There's a lot. We're talking about the college game.
We're talking about
the drop off.
Don't say a lot of them because it's not easy to win as a 16 seed.
The drop off between college basketball and NBA basketball is viscerally very clear. So that's what I'm going to say.
So is whoever's coming to this team going to pass their powers to everybody else on the team to make them better?
They won't need to. Their gravity on the court. All right, so their gravity on the court will give these guys enough open shots to where they can beat other teams. Who's a 16 seed team? Give me an example.
I was about to say NJCU.
What was the team from Jersey City that made it a couple years ago?
St. Peter's.
St. Peter's.
Yeah. Drop Luka on that team. They win the whole thing. Who else, bro? What?
Slow your roll, brother.
Luka. Luka would be the college. No.
He would be the biggest person on that St. Peter's team. And they have guys. You're a 6'8" center. Like Luka already doesn't play defense.
Point center.
6'8" centers to play defense on 7-footers who jump out of the gym. It's not that easy.
Who at the collegiate level right now is cooking him? That's in the tournament right now. Who
cooking Luka?
Yeah. Who's giving him a hard time?
All right. Yeah, I mean, if we're doing like a 16
right now,
one-on-one, then sure, Luka will win a one-on-one.
That's not my point.
Since it's a team game, and
hold on. How far did that St. Peter's team get? It just as was with the point guard Juju, whatever his name was. How far did they get?
They got pretty far.
So was it Sweet 16? I think so.
Something like that.
16. Also without Luka. So I drop in one of the 3 best players on earth onto that team, and they're not going to win the whole thing. The level, the drop off between
whole thing.
The drop off. Yes. The drop off between the NBA and college basketball is stark. The talent drop off is stark. Just like it is between the NFL and college football. Same thing. It's stark.
So you said Luka. Let's even throw St. Peter's out because St. Peter's really that run. They're really not a 16 seed. We're talking about like an Alabama State.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, you put Luka
Or,
on
or we
there.
can talk about Alcorn State, the same
Luka-
place where
Luka's going to an HBCU
What he said?
because Luka's going to an HBCU.
that's
Actually,
not the point. It's a 16
based
seed.
on videos of his extracurricular activities, I wouldn't put it past him to go to an
I mean,
HBC.
he's cool with Dirk, so no, but I know what you're saying. Like a true 16 seed.
Jason Tatum on Alcorn State at this version of him. Yeah, they're making a real run at this thing now. Are they winning the whole thing? Yeah. I think I'll give him that level of respect because we're talking about the college game. Talking about the college game. So I'm gonna go have Grant Nelson from Alabama guard him. How's that gonna go? I'm gonna have Caleb Love guard him. How's that gonna go? You can go throw. You have to throw 2 or 3 guys at each of these guys. You have to throw 2 guys at Giannis, 2 guys at LeBron, 2 or 3 guys at Shea. So everyone else is wide open. You're getting wide open layups, wide open shots. Man, please, ain't no one guy in college football and basketball right now, and not one guy. Now there's not one defender at the college basketball level that can guard any of these guys I've named. And we can go a little deeper. Is Steph Curry on? You put Steph Curry on a college basketball team right now, the 16 seed, they're gonna make a run to the championship. This version, yeah, the way he's gonna break the floor wide open. They're gonna be so spaced out. They're gonna be freaking out trying to guard him. He's gonna completely throw the balance of the court off. You know what I mean? Like, come on. There's no way. I think it's very. Look, if I put, and this is across sports, if I put Jameis Winston on, I don't know what name a college football team that's not that good. Shut up. Should have said the Jets. Put one on. I don't know, like
UNC.
But we had 16 seeds. So what's the equivalent though? Like a team that just snuck in last year to the college football playoff.
Shoot,
Boise State.
Go back to all right. Boise State, Jackson State.
Jackson State's ridiculous because they. Boise State. You put James Winston on Boise State, they gonna make a run. They win the whole thing. James Winston, they win the whole thing. They do. Because he's a better quarterback than anybody that was playing this past year at the college football level. Right now. Because playing at the NFL and playing quarterback in the NFL is much harder than playing at the college level. It's not really a conversation, in my opinion. I don't know. And maybe I'm bugging. That's fun though. It's just fun. I just feel like people underestimate the difference in skill of what you're watching between college and pros. Just like, so like when I love the guys, and this people think they're so cool saying this, oh, I don't watch the NBA, I only watch college because in the NBA they don't play defense. Shut the hell up. Sorry. Shut up. Because you know how hard it is to play defense at the NBA level with how spaced the floor is and how good these guys are all individually? No way. No way. People love saying that. They think it's so cool saying it. And meanwhile, they don't even watch college basketball right away. They always be lying. Not till March. But no, man, like the NBA, you got to respect that. Norman Powell on a 16 seed is making a run. Norman Powell. Norm.
Yo, did you have any wine tonight?
No, for real. I'm just being honest with you. You see, again, how many prospects in this year's draft are better than this version of Norman Powell? None. Maybe Coop. None.
I mean, Coop not guarding Norman though. He can't do nothing with that.
Yeah. Okay. There you go. Coop got a bird chest. Norman's a grown ass man.
Speaking of some of the things that are obvious, we all agree that, you know, what LeBron said today, Giannis would average 250 points if he played in the 70s. Not average, he would have a 250-point game. Obviously, there's some hyperbole in that.
Yeah.
I'm going to put y'all on the spot and do a flip because we all agree a lot of players in today could have played in the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. Who comes to mind from any era, 70s, 80s, and 90s? Who comes to mind that could play in this era?
Michael Jordan?
From the 70s that could play in this era now.
70s, 80s, 90s. Those three eras, who comes to mind that could play in this era right now?
There's guys. There's
Right.
there's
Magic could play in this era.
yes, he could. He could. Would he be as good in this era? Huh. I mean, he doesn't shoot the ball that. He didn't shoot the ball that great. Like he wasn't a great shooter. So I that's kind of how would he handle zone defenses? Were they playing zone back then? Like in the 70s? He's not a 70s guy in the pros, but you know what I'm saying? Were you seeing zones back then? I don't know. Maybe you were by default because there were no 3-second rules, so I shouldn't say that. But Magic would work in any era. Okay, I'm not debating that. Isaiah Thomas, any era, he'd kill. He's a killer. Michael Jordan would kill in any era. A whole long list. Charles Barkley would be a great player in this era too. Yes, he would. Yeah, he would. Charles Barkley absolutely would. Who else? Who?
Oscar Robertson.
You ain't never seen him play a damn. You ain't never seen Oscar Robertson play a damn day in your life.
Hey, man. The stats speak for themselves.
Yeah, against who? Who was Oscar Robinson playing? You see, we need film because
we need film.
We need film, bro. Like, yo, Pistol Pete playing now?
Anybody who could play in Chuck Taylors with no support for 6 months out of the year, God bless you.
Funny enough, I think Bill Russell, Wilt Chamberlain could play in this era.
You think Bill could play in this era?
Yeah, he was only 6'9", but the defensive impact, he still have an impact on defense.
If Bill played basketball today, he'd be like Clint Capella. That's I wish I was trying to be funny, and I'm not. I'm not. Miles too scared to say shit. Miles too scared to say shit
because that's crazy. That's a crazy sentence. Bill Russell is Clint Capella.
If he played today, what would he be? He's not scoring.
He would be a defensive stopper.
Yeah, he wasn't really like a scorer back then.
I think he would have more impact than Ben Wallace. Bill Russell, he was like one of the first players to ever, which a lot of people don't do now, block it and keep it inbound. Mm-hmm. So I think with his athleticism, because he was 6'9", but he was athletic. He wasn't 6'9" and like kind of stocky. So I think we still see him he'll probably still get a couple of these DPOYs if he played in his era. Yeah. Wilt Chamberlain was a bucket.
So like
I don't know if he
Wilt. He said he'd be Rudy.
Hey man, how many DPOYs does Rudy have?
Oh, Rudy. At least that Rudy Hachimura. I'm like, oh, okay. Okay, so I can hear Rudy.
Yeah, I can see Rudy. I like Rudy. That better than Clint Capella.
That's outlandish.
Okay, fine. It's outlandish. Okay, please let's pull up some film with Bill. I just want to see Bill Russell play a little bit, and I hear that, Tom, and I love that you're here to level this out and give these guys respect.
HBO Max, Celtic City.
Yes, I'm gonna have to tune in. I mean that.
It's some film on there. But I will say, like I said, we all agree with Bron. Because when you turn on that doc, it's people dribbling with the right hand, going left often, and nobody is stealing it from them. And they not like, you know how we are taught when we were growing up, you protect the ball. They not even protecting the ball. They dribbling right hand to the left side with no protection, and it don't get stolen. So that part, yeah.
I mean, come on, man. Like, so I guess, look, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar could kill in this era. Yes, he could. And you said Wilt already. I don't know about Julius Erving. I know he was a great athlete. Let's say Julius in there. Let's put him in there just because. Fine. Let's do it. He was a great player. In his time, we'll do that. And there's more guys. We're probably leaving guys off. We'll piss off the old people. Cool. But I don't know what the fuss is. What the fuss is with this, right? Like, it's clear that basketball's in a way better place. Guys are way more skilled than they ever have been. I don't really think it's a debate. So, yeah, I don't mean to disrespect Bill when I say he'd be Clint Capella, but I don't know, man. Like he wasn't an offensive player either. So, like, you know, he's a better player than Clint Capella. I'll give you that. Yes, he is. But he's closer to Clint Capella than he is to Jokic. Be honest. Just be honest. You know what I mean? Like, things get progressed over time. You know what I mean? Maybe he'd be like Derek Lively or something, like in that level of impact as Derek Lively gets better and grows into himself, the best version of Derek Lively. Like that's kind of the role he played in the NBA today, if we're being honest. So these guys get so hurt about that stuff. They really do. Dennis Rodman would be great in any era, but there's moments you probably couldn't play him the same way today. He can't shoot it. So it'd be tough, right? Like he really would have to be in and out of the lineup.
I'll throw another name out there. The logo. Jerry West could have played in this era.
We didn't see him play.
Miles.
Because you use that for everybody in the 60s and 70s.
Okay, so
we get it.
But, so how you going? Okay, but then that's fine. You didn't see him play, so how you gonna tell me he could play in this era though? What is he?
It's not like he was playing against.
Who was he playing against?
4 people. It's not like it was a CYO basketball. Like these were real guys. Okay. I heard what you were about to say. It might as well have been, right? Yeah.
I was like, it might have been. You have no point of reference. You don't know. You don't know. Yeah, the fact that Jerry West is still the emblem, God rest his soul. God rest Jerry West's soul. The fact that he's still the emblem of the NBA, after all the great players we've seen come through this league, it's further evidence of the white power structure in America. How Michael Jordan came to this league, Kobe, Bron, Kareem had the scoring record. The silhouette is iconic. Don't change it. But he isn't even a top 10 player all time, Jerry West. Is he? Larry Bird was better than him. Larry Bird could play in this era, by the way. Yes, he could. Larry Bird could.
Right, he'd be what, Joe Ingles?
No, see, that's different. That's not the same. Yo, the closer you get to the 2000s, the more validity I put on your joint, bro. The 1990s, the 80s, yeah, you got some killers back then. 70s is where you start to get a little questionable. Like, all right, like the game is that version of basketball is not even what you know. It's not what you know. It's not.
They had to deal with drugs and racism back then. If you could put up 30 a night, dressed out like that, then you could do that in any era.
All right, look, I know that's the Bill Russell argument, right? The social activism, and how impressive that is, but that has nothing to do with basketball. I'm just saying, he could have cured cancer on his side. Would it change his game? What was his game like?
I will say this though, from watching the documentary and watching some of the film, between that debate of him versus Wilt, I think Wilt, if they switched careers, Wilt still gets some championships, right? Because it was better teams that the Celtics had. I don't think he gets as many because Wilt was solely focused on scoring. He rebounded, he blocked a little bit, but he was mainly scoring and was not as much as a team player as Bill Russell. Bill Russell, he ain't really looked to score. He'll say in the after film we see, he'd be like, I could have averaged 30. Bill Russell could not have, respectfully, he could not have averaged 30. He could not have done what Wilt was doing. If they switch careers, I don't think Bill wins a championship at all, though. He'll just be a really good player. But if Bill Russell switched with Wilt Chamberlain, Bill Russell has no titles. And we talk about him completely differently. He definitely doesn't become a coach and win a title as a coach. It doesn't happen if they switch.
Yeah.
That's how I view it on that regard. The Bill Russell, the Wilt Chamberlain thing. Wilt could play in this era 1,000%. I think Bill Russell could play in this era 1,000%. Before we transition and we talk about today's NBA, do you think John Stockton could play in this era?
Yes. Yeah, I do. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of guys. He could play in this era. Would he be great in this era? That's the question you want to ask yourself. Would he be a superstar in this era? Maybe. I don't know. Maybe. It's a different game to what he played. It's a different game. So, but he can play in this era 100%. Yes. I think there are a lot of guys that could play in this era. Playing is one thing. Being a superstar, being the guy you were in your era and this era is a different conversation. And that is what I'm trying to say. So when I say Bill Russell is Clint Capella, I'm just saying if he played today, he's much closer to that status, maybe. And that's probably not fair. The intangibles, what he brought to a team, high IQ. Okay, he's not Clint. Yeah, that's fine. But he's not running jump guy. He's not that. And if Blake Griffin can play in this era, then sure. Bill could thrive in this era. Let's do that. Let's be fair. But is he an NBA superstar in this era? I don't think so. No. That's the question we got to start asking. Are these guys superstars in this era if they come over here? I think Isaiah Thomas would be a damn close, if not a superstar. I think Magic Johnson would be a superstar. I think Kareem would be a superstar. Michael Jordan. I think Charles would be one. I do believe Charles would be damn close, right? Just off the marketability alone. I just think he would be. There's a legitimate case for some of these guys. So yeah, I would say that, but it's a very small list. And the way these older guys talk about it, the way these guys from the 70s and the 80s and the 90s talk about today's basketball, it's as if they were all just dropped in this era, they'd be superstars. It's easy to do it in this era. No, it's not. And you're mad. It's not.
That's what I'm saying. It's not easy. And it's not looking easy right now for the title hopes of the Milwaukee Bucks. Unfortunately, we don't like to hear it. We never want to see it. Hoping a speedy recovery, but another player is out indefinitely dealing with blood clots, except this time it is in his calf. And if you haven't heard, read, or seen, I am referencing Damian Lillard is out indefinitely with blood clots in his leg. With this being the case, is it safe to say we're expecting the Milwaukee Bucks to be a first round exit in the playoffs?
Yeah. I mean, if you're losing an all-star, an all-NBA guy in Damian Lillard, and now throwing that all on Giannis to handle, who's been in and out of the lineup with his own ailments, but outside of those two, this team doesn't really have much. Like, they still have Brook Lopez, but he's not somebody you're going to for 30 points a night. They got Bobby Portis, who will be back for the playoffs. Sure, he stepped up when Giannis has been out. But to lose that closer, that's why he was brought over here. He's a closer. He's shown it in the playoffs. He's done it in Portland. And now you're going to rely on Giannis to handle that when things get tighter. You're going to have to make shots when it comes down to the wire at the end. I can see them losing. So I think right now they're what, fifth? I could see them dropping back down to
Fourth seed.
They're fourth. Are they? I thought the Pacers were right behind us.
Pacers lost tonight, so they are the fifth seed, and the Pistons are sixth.
All right. Well, Pacers have been playing well. I figure they'll jump over them again. I think the Bucks will lose and drop to that sixth seed. So we will see the Pistons probably finish 5. So if that playoff stays the same, then they'd play the Knicks in the first round. If the Knicks finish as the 3rd seed and the Bucks finish as the 6th, I mean, as a Knicks fan, that would be ideal for me because I'd be okay with that. I'm not rooting against anybody, and I want Dame to get back healthy. But if the playoffs happen in a few weeks and the Bucks are down Damian Lillard, I think that's a 4-1 series right there.
My bad. When I looked at it before the show, I wasn't updated. They are the 6th seed right now, so you would be seeing them first round if the playoffs started today.
Mm-hmm. I'm good with it.
How does it turn into a thing about the Knicks? I'm talking about Dame.
Same way Jalen Hurts was brought up somehow this episode.
Because Jalen Hurts and Milroe are very similar. So that's the difference. There's a correlation there. So it's not the same. But
what's the correlation?
you know damn what the correlation is. But went to Alabama, both running quarterbacks. That's the correlation. Both black. And it ain't even about the skin color. I'm just feeding into his nonsense. But nah, man, the Dame injury it's sad. It's sad. It's a serious injury. So I think that's the worst part about it. It's serious. It's not like his sprained ankle or a soft tissue injury. This is like a blood clot. So it seems like, you know, modern medicine is at a place now where this is not something that can end someone's career, or it can, but it's not at the same rate. Like you're not seeing guys just stop playing after this thing happens. So that's the good thing. But yeah, man, hopefully he gets a speedy recovery. I will say, you know, I was talking about Dame yesterday, and it's like you think about how good he was with Portland for all those years, and you know, as guys age, they don't shoot the same way. They don't shoot it at as high of a clip, and he still takes high difficulty shots that he can make, of course, one of the greatest shooters of all time, but he doesn't make them with the same level of consistency. And so I think even if they had gotten to the playoffs healthy with Dame and Giannis both being there, I have my concerns about them, you know, making a run in the postseason. I do, because I mean, if they play Indiana, sure, they can beat Indiana. I do believe that. But like, you know, if they'd played the Knicks or played, you know, Cleveland or certainly Boston or even Detroit, even Detroit. I think they'd get past Detroit, but Detroit would give them a hard time, as with the Magic. So it is really because of the shot selection now. You're starting the shots that were good shots for you when you were young aren't good shots anymore for Dame. So yeah, I had my questions about them before. I certainly do now. I don't think they're going to get out of the first round necessarily. I don't really believe that. If they do, all credit to Giannis. That's a notch on your belt. It's a big deal if you can do that. I really do believe that. But the real question people should be asking, in my opinion, is what does this mean for Giannis's future as a Buck? Because I know Giannis is understanding, and you know, it's not Dame till he got hurt, but it's another year that's gone by, and you won one year, but it's another year that's gone by where you have to live in Milwaukee. And let's be honest, Giannis does not want to live in Milwaukee. I think we all know it's very clear based on the comment he made after Luka went to the Lakers about European guys being in big market cities and how appealing that is for the NBA. He does not want to live in Milwaukee. He's kind of laying down the groundwork. So you know you're going to get bounced this year early, and you know there's not many ways the Bucks can truly get better, right, around you, because Dame's trade value will be at an all-time low coming off of that injury, and you don't have many other tradable pieces, right? And the move they made for you at the halfway point of the season at the trade deadline was going to get Kyle Kuzma, who's an idiot on the basketball court. So he plays like an idiot. So let's be honest, right? Like I don't really know what you can really do at this point, you know, to make that team substantially better and make it more appealing for Giannis to stay. And an early playoff exit is going to push him out that door. I do believe it. I think we're headed towards a place where it wouldn't surprise me this summer Giannis asks for that trade, and you know, it turns into Giannis mania this offseason where we're trying to figure out where he's going to go and what team he's going to go play for as well. And I'm sure Miles will tell us at some point this summer it'll be the Knicks, and you know, we'll get into that, but it won't be. And it'll probably be Brooklyn or something like that, or you know, just throwing my team in there because they have all the picks in the world, by the way. That's why I say that. But we'll see. We'll see.
Staying with the subway battle, like I told you at the beginning of the episode, the baseball is back. MLB is back. We have a full season ahead of us. Big off season, big signings, big moves, and a lot of money spent just in the tri-state area alone. The Yankees are predicted to win 89.5 games. Over or under the 89.5?
Yankees?
I'm gonna say over.
Of course. Why not?
I mean, we retooled. We added a ace level pitcher in Max Fried.
Didn't you lose the ace too?
Huh?
Didn't you lose the ace?
Okay. Like I said, we retooled. We got Cody Bellinger. So yeah, we lost Soto. Everybody loves to harp on that, but it is what it is. You
You
guys
say that
spent
like it's not a
$300
big
million
deal.
on one guy. We spent that money on and spread it out over 3 or 4 guys. So I think in the long run, we're gonna get our young guys in there, get some experience, and we'll be better for it. I still think we're the favorites in our division, and we know that the American League is not at the same level as the National League, so we have that as a benefit too. So
Mhm.
I'm saying over 89.
Are you surprised? I'm not surprised to hear you say that at all. I think this is a bridge season for the Yankees. I think they're working through some stuff. I think that this is a time where you guys are rebuilding a bit, but on the move, like while still being respectable. It's not going to be a nasty rebuild. And so, if you guys won 88 games, 87 games, 85 games, would it surprise me? No, no. It's not up to the Yankees standard everyone talks about, sure, but I think the standard needs to be changed because they don't spend money the way they used to. So you see what happens is when you don't spend money, the correlation is when you don't spend money the way you used to in a sport where there is no salary cap and guys go to the highest bidder more often than not, you're not going to be as good as you once were. Just the way things work. Just the way things work. And so yeah, like it's okay. They're not what they once were. They don't got the same shine to them. They lost their best player. You guys lost your best player by a mile. He's far better than Judge. He's far better than Stanton.
What?
Soto's a better baseball player
What?
than Judge. Yes, he is. They're saying. And so you lost your best player, especially, and you lost your best postseason performer. Stanton's right there. Giancarlo was awesome, but you lost your best postseason performer in Soto.
Okay.
And so
Over the last 7 years,
that
we've
was
made 4 or 5 American League championship runs.
Did Tone ask who had the most success in the past 7 years? Is he talking about this year?
I'm listening to you talk, and it's just I hear words coming out. They're just not making sense. It's
It's making sense to me. Y'all aren't as good as you guys used to
this
be.
must be ESPN Deportes the way you're talking about Soto.
So Soto was your best bat last. Soto was your best bat.
No shot.
In the big moment,
got
Soto was
the
your best
MVP.
bat.
You got the
Yo,
MVP.
when it mattered, where was Judge at? What happened to him?
That's all right. It's a new season.
It's all right. It's all right. If it's your, I've learned that if it's your guy, it's all right. Me, I'm ready to kill somebody if they're not performing. I'm ready to come on here and eviscerate them because they're not performing when it matters the most, which is what matters,
Right,
and why you get paid the big dollars and why you're called a superstar. So he didn't perform in the big moment, but by the way, Ohtani did though. Ohtani hit in the big moments, right, and it went right to a championship. Ohtani hit.
Right.
Soto hit.
Where he hit.
But
He was
Judge
worse
didn't hit.
than Judge in the World Series, but because of the face of baseball, they let him pass. They give him a pass.
They won. What do you mean? What are we supposed to say? They won the damn thing. I can't criticize him for not playing well when they won. If Judge won, I wouldn't be talking about him.
Yes, you would.
No, I wouldn't.
Yes, you would, because you'd be saying the same thing. You'd be like, "Yo, you lost your best player. You won, but what is Judge going to do now?" You'd be the same thing.
If Ohtani wasn't clearly the best player on his team, which he is, if he wasn't the best player on his team and they lost their best player, I'd say the same thing about Ohtani. Like, it's you guys lost your best bat, and that's okay. You guys lost your best bat. Judge is streaky. That's what he's a streaky hitter. And you know what? He soils himself. He soils himself in the big moment. He does. He soils his pants. Those pinstripes turn brown when he gets in the postseason. That's what happens. And that's why he doesn't hit the same way. And that's just a fact at this point. I don't think it's really debatable, to be quite honest with you. So we'll see. We'll see, man. I mean, look, 85 wins is a nice season. Nothing to be ashamed of. It's cool. If y'all don't get over that 89 win hump, that's fine, man. You guys should be respectable. And I have a lot of respect for that organization.
I know what the next question is. It's going to be about the Mets. So it's going to be a real interesting combo with them.
Why is it interesting? They're going to be really good. Is that not?
Rotation
aside.
Over under.
Dog what?
Over under Mets 90.5 wins.
Over. Smash the over. And by the way, thank you to the Yankees for giving us Clay Holmes, who I didn't realize could pitch at the level he pitches at, and he's going to be really good for us. So a great addition to our line, our starting rotation. And then we got
spring training all-star.
Nah, don't do that. Don't do that. You should have kept them. If you kept them, you know what, Tone's crazy? If Clay Holmes was in pinstripes right now, he'd be telling me how, and the plan was for Clay Holmes to be a starter the same way they did with the Mets, and he got this spring training, the exact same spring training, all these stats, what he's done. You would tell me how great Clay Holmes is, and you would tell me he's our best kept secret, and the rest of the league is in trouble.
He was available? Why do you think he was available?
Whatever.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Do you know what it was? He went to a superior. He went to a superior pitching staff. He's with a bunch of the coaches we have are superior. We got great coaches with the Mets. Luis Severino said as much, by the way. He said that it's just the Mets are first class, and he said the Yankees are second class. He said, like it was cool, but being a Met, they took care of me. It was different. That's what he said. So he's here with Jeremy Hefner is one of the best pitching coaches in the NFL. I mean NFL in the MLB,
NBA, NHL. He's great
in every league. Oh shit! But in the MLB. And he deserves a lot of credit for the work he did with Sean Manaea last year, right? Who's also in our rotation, and Senga, if he can be healthy, I'm happy about that, and I think we can have a good thing going there as well. McGill, it's a long list, and by the way, they can still make a trade. Right? And don't get me started on the offensive potential of this lineup, because that's where things get real fun, right? With Beatty and Acuna and the young guys, in addition to the heavy hitters. With Lindor and Soto and Alonso and Nimmo and Alvarez will come back. When he comes back, great, and the great talent we have in the farm system, and Brandon Sproat, who's coming up in the farm system, who's throwing 100 miles an hour and has nasty stuff. So he'll be up some point this season too. I bet he will be. Maybe someone more knowledgeable than me about the farm system will tell me no, but I think he'll be up. So hey, man, I'm looking forward to the season. Mets fans have every reason to be excited about this upcoming year as well. It feels like it's our time, and we're going to be right there to compete with the Dodgers as well. And I'm excited about it. And hopefully Mookie feels better, by the way, because that joint is crazy. I don't know what's going on with him. He has some kind of some kind of fungus eating him from the inside out, and he's losing weight, and he can't keep food down. So I don't know, man. But hopefully he feels better. I want to take a side note on that. He looks crazy. He looks so skinny now. It's crazy to me. But yeah, man, I think the Mets are a better team than the Yankees. I think it's clear.
We're not in the same league, though. You still got to deal with the Dodgers. You got to get past the Dodgers.
Notice how
better than the Dodgers.
You're moving the score. You're moving the post.
You can say all you want. Like last year, they had an easy route. The leagues didn't change. You still got to face the Dodgers. They'll still beat you. That's what it is.
The comparison is our win total versus yours. And by the way, I do think we're better than the Dodgers now. And if we're not, we will be by midseason if we make a trade. I do believe that. Dodgers are loaded. I got to give them that. But I do think we have a chance to compete and beat them. I do. Vientos. Oh, my gosh. How can I have Vientos? Hell of a bat.
Just picture whatever you think the Mets have in their lineup and then add a rotation to it. That's what the Dodgers have.
We have a rotation too.
Yeah, you have people in your rotation, but that doesn't make it a rotation.
Yeah, we have a good rotation, and it'll get better. We'll add guys one way or the other. They're going to be aggressive about winning championships. That's where we're headed. It's the glory days. You guys had your turn. I don't know why I sense all this jealousy and hostility. And
why would they be jealous?
You're jealous. I don't get it. You had your turn. Mets fans had to watch, okay, for a long time. You guys had success. That's great. The tables always turn. At some point, and so the Giants. Look at the Giants. The tables turn.
Though I feel like we had this combo a few years ago when Durant and them suckers came over to Brooklyn.
But hold on, it's not the same. It's not the same at all, because the Nets didn't have that kind of successful season before he got there. We got Soto after having damn near making it to the World Series, and we got Soto and added him to that mix. That's what happened. So it's a lot different than the Nets. I have every reason to be optimistic. You wish you were a Mets fan right now.
I really don't.
You do.
I really don't.
You do. And that's okay.
I've seen winning in my lifetime. Okay. I appreciate you being so optimistic about.
Let's see how much more winning you see. By the time the Yankees are back to competing for championships, I think that your son will be driving vehicles.
Okay.
That's what I think.
Okay.
That's what I think. Got to spend money.
Predictions for AL MVP.
I mean, I want to hear what you got to say because whatever I say,
You're gonna
is
pick
always
Judge.
the
You're gonna pick
contradiction.
Judge.
I mean, if he's healthy, what are we talking about?
That's
All right.
fine.
So
I'm not
for
anti.
the conversation, I'm not going to do the obvious. So let's say Bobby Witt. If Bobby
That's
Witt,
what I was. That's what I was gonna say. No, for real. That's exactly
right?
what
Because
I was
that's
gonna
who you
say.
thought should have won it last year. It's cool, Haters hate.
I'm not saying that. The Judge got hot in the late summer months, and he took it away. That's fine.
Not hot. He was hot for 7 months.
He was great.
I'm not even going to. Whatever. Bobby Witt, cool. Next one.
I was gonna say Bobby Witt. I was gonna say that.
NL MVP.
Say
Soto.
it. Say it. Yeah.
Soto.
Say his name.
Soto. Juan Soto. Juan Soto MVP. I think that's going.
Are you in agreement?
I'm still gonna say Ohtani, but since it's sunny in Queens.
Just mind you that when Ohtani and Judge were in the same league, you picked Judge to win MVP over him, over Ohtani. I think Soto's a better hitter than Judge. So, just saying.
Well, it is late, so these thoughts aren't always right.
AL Cy Young.
I like the guy from Kansas City, Cole Ragans. I think he can take a step forward, pitch more innings this year. He could also lead the league in strikeouts too. So I like Ragans. You could go with Screwball. I think he takes a step back.
Screwball.
This was his first.
The guy from Detroit.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This is his first year pitching to that level. If you look at the numbers before that, sure. But I think he takes a step back. So either Ragans or Crochet from the Red Sox. I could see that too.
I was going to pick Fried. I think Fried could have a kind of year. I do. Look at him. He thinks it's weird when I pick a guy that it work out for him. I think Fried could have that kind of year.
Funny. I know you weren't going to pick Fried.
I think Fried could do it.
Okay.
I think Fried could do it.
NL Cy Young.
Is Clay Holmes an option?
Here we go.
I like Zach Wheeler. I think he can win it. I feel like since he's come over to Philly, he's turned over a new leaf. Once he left that Queen City, he's been an ace pitcher. You shaking your head. You guys should have kept him because now we're seeing a true ace on the Phillies.
Who was running the team when he left the team?
I believe you were running.
Right? Yeah, whatever. The broke joke was running the team, and they couldn't keep him. So stuff happens. It's okay. It's a brighter day. That's all right. I'm not anti that pick either. I think that could easily be the guy who does it. I'm kind of just thinking here.
I mean, because you have him. Let me look at the teams and.
There you go. I have to do the same thing.
I mean, Skeens is an option, but I feel like they'll still scale his innings back a little bit because he didn't really pitch that many in the minor leagues in last year. So
Chris Hill could do it too on the AL side. I know it's not about him, but he could. I'm gonna go with Skeens though. If he don't get hurt.
Yeah. And then Chris Sale is still up there too, so he could repeat.
But Chris Sale's on the AL side, right?
NL, he's on the Braves.
Oh shit! Yeah, I forgot that. There we go. All right.
Yeah. Who's the prediction for a home run champion and the batting champ?
Home run champ. I'd say between Judge or Soto. I mean, not Soto, Otani.
Home run champ. I think both those picks are pretty safe bets. I think Soto can challenge, but I think those guys are both more power. They hit more power. So I have no problem with that one.
I think Soto hits less home runs this year.
Being in the place that he's demolished his whole career. By the way, his numbers are crazy in Citi Field.
It's a way bigger park. Yankee Stadium is, a great place to hit home runs, and he had the protection of arguably the best hitter in baseball behind him last year. So that helped his numbers a lot. But, there's always Polar Bear Pete to help his numbers.
And Lindor and Vientos and these guys.
But Lindor is going to be hitting in front of him.
Batting champ. Who wins the batting title?
I think Bobby Witt could get it again.
Yeah.
Bobby Witt. I know on the NL side they have a rise for the Padres. He could also get it. I know he's like a 3 or 4 time batting champ. So if they did AL, NL, I'd say Bobby Witt and Luis Ariz from the Padres.
Both pretty safe bets in my opinion too. I think both those guys can pull it off. I go with them.
Hey, there go y'all MLB predictions right there. Greg just said it though on that last one. Pretty safe picks, but if you play it safe, you're not gonna really be your best self. And to be your best self, you gotta make sure that you stay ready, so you ain't gotta get ready. Bench Mob, we out. Peace.